Welcome back to day 4 of Game Changers Championship 2024 live from Berlin, Germany. It's time for our second elimination match on this Monday. It's Visa KRU Blaze versus GiantX. I'm Victoria here with Tom and Wyatt once again. Have you caught your breath from the last match?
A little bit.
A little bit?
That was a bang. I mean, it was a
gotta lean back.
2-0. I didn't expect the 2-0. I really didn't. But for what we got, that was a sick match. I mean,
it was insane.
Crazy.
So many clutches, so many aggressive plays, a lot of neon as well. So can't complain.
Hunter's furying too.
That's true.
Now, you guys are with me, but imagine if I had to host the show alone. It wouldn't be as fun. Love you guys here. So it's always good to have friends around. You guys at home know that too. And same goes for queuing up in Valorant. Scan the QR code to join the community in the LFG Discord. We also have a QR code for the Valorant server, which is exclusively for women and non-binary players. So go find your squad, go find your people, go find your team. We were talking about queuing up and the frustrations of it. Sometimes it's just better with friends.
Yeah, you were asking me very toxic questions.
I did.
Would I rather die to an Odin or a judge? It's
yeah. Like what would...
Pick your poison.
Yeah. It's a valid question. You didn't answer that yet, and you guys.
Someone might be able to trade the Odin. Trading a judge? Hilarious. Hilarious.
Well, they're both very frustrating to die to, but it's very satisfying if you're the one holding that gun. But let's get into this matchup and talk about KRU Visa Blaze. They broke their opening match curse finally, and they were very close to taking down G2 Gozen. It was probably the furthest I've seen Gozen pushed at all this year.
Oh no, yeah, like G2 Gozen have been flawless when it comes to EMEA and stage 3. It was impressive if anybody even took a map off them. That series, in very small moments, easily could have gone back in the other direction. I think this is going to be toppled.
Yeah, this is KRU's third straight Game Changers Championship. So they have a lot of experience. They make really good calls, but they've never been able to really push past, a certain placement. And I think this is where they really want to make a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely. They came into this saying that they feel like this is the best they've ever been since adding that Brazilian duo of Biazik and Dodds, obviously, on the Neon, who has just been taking over every single map they step in.
We're about to see some of it. I think the thing I've loved is the calling, and that's what these clips are sort of displaying, is the fact that we've had these really aggressive rotations in rounds where they look done. Like, okay, we're in a 3v5, we're in positions where this doesn't really look doable, and they just gamble stack players into the sites. I think they've been so impressive.
It's kind of akin to what we just saw Zeta do, honestly. Both of those teams are incredible on those fast, aggressive floods as a unit. Just bringing out the deep pushes like that on defense. Why not just run at them?
Yeah, just faster feet, just run into their spawn and get it over with. KRU has been incredible. They've got open communication. They've been talking a lot about that, and we put Visa KRU Blaze to the test. We put them on a different game, not Valorant, but a game of quick on the draw. Have a look.
Hola a todos, soy Romy y estoy aquí con mi equipo Visa KRU Blaze y vamos a estar jugando un jueguito que se llama Quick on the Draw. Bueno, se trata más o menos de que me van a decir una palabra y yo tengo que dibujarla a la espalda de mi compañera. Ella se va a dar vuelta y va a seguir dibujando hasta llegar a mi última compañera, que es Connie, y ella tiene que adivinar qué cosa dibujamos.
Horribles. Dibujen bien. Muy malas la trupe de...
Ni siquiera sé cómo es la cara de esa persona.
Dibujen bien, gracias. Vamos ver a foto. Tienen pistas. Eu quero ver. Escriban. Mas se escolheram uma foto feia minha, eu vou lá agora, mano.
No sé cómo es la cara, pero... No sé qué tiene.
Não, sério, se a minha for sem meu Juliette, eu vou lá agora.
Nica, no te
Me representaría.
ok, está. Fíjate lo que lleva en la mano. Ay, ojalá esto lo vea. Me esforcé mucho.
No tenemos foto. Tirei a mim mesmo.
Nada. Fíjate la mano, ¿qué hizo? Es nuestro sexto player.
Que medo que vai chegar,
Lo
mano.
importante es que lleva en la mano.
Quisiera. Só. Mano.
Bia, lo importante es lo que lleva en la mano.
A ver, todo.
Eu acho que é isso.
En sus manitas.
Capitão.
Todo.
Não tem 4 patas.
No me puedo imaginar qué llegó.
Uy,
Ah, yo creo que hay que adivinar, Connie.
o que mais que tem? É tipo assim. Não vai entender.
Ya.
Pronto, Connie.
Mira nuestro dibujo.
Tá, é mais redondinho.
Sí. Es más gordito.
Você sabe.
Sí, sabe.
Dale, dale. Es fácil.
Es lo que lleva en sus manitas.
Es lo que lleva sus manos.
Es un sexto player para nosotros.
Ah, el Wingman.
Meu filho ficou parecendo o Patrick, mano.
Mandando o meu também.
Sim, eu olhei e falei, eu descobri pela Spike o seu.
Ya, ya.
E esse Spike aqui parece um Doritos.
Bueno, este fue nuestro juego. Se nota que igual no entendemos un poco. Así que eso, nos vemos en el servidor.
Chao.
I just gotta say, thank goodness Biazik's play on Sova is so much better than her drawing of Wingman, because her play on Sova kept the team alive no matter what the situation.
Yeah, I think we saw the difference between the sort of first day and second, where she was able to play slightly more comfort roles, wasn't playing a defensive side aggressive Yoru, and I think also it meant that we saw a lot more sort of flexibility in those calls that we mentioned earlier on.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, just a part of that crucial duo that has taken this team to the next level. The impact being felt by the other players on this team, and in conjunction with Kanir, just sort of the traditional way to build a roster that we've seen so much success with, sort of like Shopify, bringing in these new upcoming stars like Abia, having the experienced players that have been to every GCC like Kanir, and that is just a recipe for success.
Yeah, we've seen the success that's been happening, and just like they said, this is probably the best form they've been in years, and we've seen the result of that Abyss map 3 last time against Gozen. I didn't know who was going to win. I was prepping questions for either winner. I couldn't tell. It was 11-13 on Abyss. Incredible play by them. In fact, let's hear from Bia herself, who spoke to Mika Fabs ahead of this matchup.
I'm here right now with Biazika of Visa Crew Blaze. Now, Biazika, this is your first Global Game Changers tournament. I'm wondering what you learned from playing up against the best teams in the world so far.
It's cool to be here because every team have a different play style, and I am learning so much, and I am very happy.
And you seem like you're enjoying yourself too.
Yes.
Well, good luck out there. Good luck to the rest of the team as well.
Thank you.
I love seeing happy players and happy vibes. And over on the side of GiantX, we've seen Jelena stepping up over the entire tournament with incredible performances.
Yeah, I think she's just been getting better and better. Like, I think Jolena is always someone who, especially for a controller player, puts up a lot of numbers, but I think especially in the series yesterday, she just hit a new level.
Absolutely. Finished at what, like 40 for 20? Yeah. It's a solid 2 KD. And despite the slow start for GX against MIBR, there were still plays like this being made by Jolena that were keeping them in the game. But at this point, now in the lower bracket, they got that win against ALG. Here's a real test for them against Visa Crew Blaze. And obviously, we are looking at Jolena to continue that high level of play, to be the linchpin of GX, making a series out of this, trying to get this win and keep making that lower bracket run.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think my expectations for Jolena are that she will play well. I don't think that's necessarily my focus, because I have such high expectations for her in general, and it's where else? Like, are we going to have Ness come up to the level we know she can achieve? More importantly, in this series, I think Smurfette will have to be a highlight, because I think her versus Dodds is going to be an impressive battle.
Definitely. I think what they want to do at this point is carry on that momentum from yesterday against ALG. What was it, 13-1 kind of scoreline on that the second map. Carry it forward into today. I think that'll help them a lot, obviously. But what I really like about this team as well, they've talked about it before, even at the end of Split 3 over here in EMEA, they were trying to play like the perfect Valorant or correct Valorant, and they decided to throw it all out and play their own way. And I think some of that has been coming through, and I think that's a large part to Jalena's success also.
Oh, for sure. Like, they have this base level in aggression that they always had, especially Smurfette and Ness as a duo. They were really high-paced, and they kind of took a step back and were like, okay, we're going to be more structured. As of recent, they went, nah, let's just fight them. Let's just fisticuffs.
Absolutely.
Falcon punches.
We love to see the teams play their own game. In fact, let's send it back to Mika Fabs to get a quick word from GiantX's Ness.
Thank you very much for that tag to bear. Now I'm here with Ness of GiantX. Now Ness, I heard you guys enjoy lower bracket runs. You guys mentioned it yourself. I'm wondering though, with that comes the challenge of like successive matches in a row. So how does the team keep the energy up in this instance?
So basically, when we start the tournament, I think we start shaky and nervous. I don't know why do we do this to ourselves, but yeah. And then when we go to lower brackets, I think we take it more seriously and we have like less nerves, and we are getting ready more to like we are getting used to the stage and other stuff. I think that's basically it.
Are we gonna get more Odin plays from you?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Sorry.
Not sorry at all. Good luck to you.
Nah, those Odin plays, those darn Odin plays. Now, the road ahead for GiantX may seem near impossible, but they did make an incredible lower bracket run in stage 3. So, they could possibly do it again, Wyatt.
Absolutely. And what's so cool about this lower bracket run is kind of taking a step back even further. GX, they're this team that was formed with intentions of sticking together no matter what, playing throughout the entire year with this roster. And we saw them get better and better. In stage 1, though, they couldn't best Falcons. In stage 2, they couldn't best Falcons. Then in stage 3, finally, they go on that run. They beat Falcons. They win in the lower final. They make it to a grand final. They have just been getting better and better, and that is the evidence of it, and just shows that they can do it again.
Well, can they do it again? That is definitely the question for today. We're ready for our team to take the stage. It's Visa Crew Blaze versus GiantX. Yes, they're in the lower bracket, but they did push G2 Gozen like no other. And GiantX on the other side are here to defend their turf in the home of EMEA.
Okay, an immediate ascent ban from Visa Crew Blaze shows the respect that's being given. And that was always going to be my question. If ascent's gone, what is the pick going to be of GX? Split's an interesting one. Historically, not a good map for them, but clearly work has been done.
Yeah, and going by the numbers as well, Bind hasn't been good for them either. They're 1-4 on it this year, and we saw in Cruise, it was the very first map they played this tournament, I believe. They were running around with the Yoru, Sky, Neon, just inting onto sites, flashing through their own sky smokes from the brim, all-out aggression, an unorthodox approach. It was very cool to watch, and it's going to be very tough to prepare for, and it's something that I can't imagine this GX team has ever really scrimmed against.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like if you look at the stats, you look at the numbers, this is Visa Crew Blaze a series to lose. Like, I feel like these are the maps that they've looked good on when it comes to their own regional performances, even having some decent showings on them here as well, whereas for GX, you've lost your sort of safety map and now have to go into maps that, okay, I'd say Abyss is pretty 50-50, but the first two, based on history, doesn't look the best for them.
Yeah, definitely worrying. You just have to expect picking into Split. They must have cracked the code on something in this off time. A new comp, a role swap, something has to have been done that they feel confident enough to pick it in a do or die situation.
Exactly.
Well, we're going to find out what the agent pick is for this. I can't believe this is going to be the last of this. Oh, things are switching up.
Whoa, that is not what I expected to see from GiantX. Oh, the Harbor and the Sage with the Viper. That is...
Okay, they were running, like, obviously the double controller before, but pulling in the Harbor is not something I expected to see for Jolina. Finesse, this comp on defense at least feels all about delay. Like, you're going to try and slow your opponent as much as possible. When you're up against the Neon Yoru, I don't know if that's going to work.
I think the slow orb just puts Neon at basically normal speed running through.
And also, I guess the wall could block the Yoru TP. I don't know where else you're going with that. It looks like an attempted counter, so I'm really very much intrigued.
Yeah, it is intriguing. Very cool.
I think this is going to be a really fun one. Obviously, they've cooked something up knowing how Visa Crew Blaze like to play on this map. I think we're going to have a 3-mapper today, especially on that Abyss. We're going to have a situation where we're going to be going the distance just like the last crew game where we really don't know who's going to end up winning this. This is going to be a crazy... This is an elimination match as well, so one person is going to have to go home today.
It'll be interesting to see if this GiantX game plan to counter Crew's comp does work early on. Can Crew actually adjust in the moment then? Do they have the ability, or is this comp just too narrow in its goal of aggression?
Well, we are about to find out. Let's give a big welcome to your casters for this one. We found the most serious and stoic of casters here. It is Mimi and Ender.
Famously stoic, love Marcus Aurelius. We got a good one though. Crew just lost 6 rounds in a row to let the game versus G2 slip. Now they're in the lower bracket, and this is a match for survival.
Yeah, they're starting off on a strong map for them up against a wacky comp from GiantX, but my eyes in this series are going to be on Dodds. This is the star for Crew, but in that loss up against G2, Dodds was not performing at that top level that we know we should be expecting for him.
And starting off on the crowning agent, it's the Neon for Dodds. It's all 5 players leaning towards B for Visa Crew Blaze.
Yeah, just gonna be Ness jump peeking down long here. Oh, sees just the one player. Early wall comes out, and yeah, Neon tried to slip in front of that one. Not quite gonna make it in time.
So the wall stalls him out for a moment, but Crew's still ready to go here. Flash through the wall. In goes Dodds, not finding anyone just yet. They're gonna wrap towards Elbow and Ness. Little too much to deal with there. She goes down alone, but Sarah's reaction is great. Would have loved for more than one.
GiantX, no position on site, although they did throw that flood smoke coming out there. Kinnear got that one down before. Miori wrapping around the corner. No one's looking at Elbow. What's going on? Double shocks. The nades coming down. GiantX crush on the retake.
In just a moment, they're back in control of that round. And Smurfette, I mean, what a way to start that one off. 3 kills, a perfect nade to fight back in.
Where did that come from? I mean, the round was looking so good for Crew. And then the combination of that nade with that smoke going down, yeah. Smurfette playing nicely around that one.
Indeed. So GiantX get themselves a pistol round. And for this GiantX squad, I think playing at home, playing against a squad that is proven potent, almost beat G2, I think that would be a win here. Would be such a big kind of proof of how good this team actually can be. There's questions of how legit a second seed GiantX is.
Especially with debuting this new comp. So much stall there. You can already see that wall being put down into Showers. This time having a lot more effectiveness, and the pulse around that just got instantly broken, and KRU able to get past that. And really my question for the rest of this half is how much do KRU want to try to like force their way through the Viper wall, the Sage wall, and blitz their way onto a site? And how much do they want to just like play these early rounds to bait out those critical pieces of util, and then, you know, wait out the rest of the round, wait the 35 seconds for that one to fall, and go on with their lives, really.
For Biasic as an IGL too, I think figuring out that slower pace, they in LATAM are so dominant, sometimes just get to run around, rely on some of the star power from players like Dodds, that adjusting to other styles, adjusting to weird comps. This is where the real test comes in for KRU.
Yeah, I do think like KRU do have so much mobility between the Yoru TP and the Neon jumping that they can almost disrespect a lot of the like the double smokes, whether it's the decay coming through from a Viper or even the slow coming through from a hard wall. They don't have to respect that as much as you would with a much more standard, normal-ish comp.
One enemy remaining.
Still in a round like this, you can see GiantX playing very nicely around those pieces of util.
And getting the energy going early. So GiantX, again, looking down the barrel of a similar start from KRU.
Yeah, so far we've just seen KRU play B-Long, play for Showers control early on, although there's a creep going on outside Showers right now. Kunir takes down Smurfette. That's a big one for KRU to come away with initially.
Does feel a little early walking that deep for Smurfette. Takes that risk. And now that's one of the big tools for GiantX out of this round.
Yeah, the call came in. Hey, there's all this presence down B-Long. We saw Yoru flashes, we saw Neon stuns, we saw it all.
And that is the same exact util pattern they showed on the pistol round when there was 4 players there.
Exactly. Smurfette thought she could step up, and now actually has called her teammates to do a very similar step up outside of Showers. Pretty interesting that.
Can KRU catch this rewalk? Romy responsible for it. Naori swings way ahead of her teammate, but there's no way Romy expects a second. Jelena will mop that one up, but on the other side, KRU into the site scot-free.
Yeah, look, if 2 people are flanking at that point in the round, it means the B site is absolutely cooked. I like that from KRU, playing really good extremity control. And I think that's important, right? Because you look at this comp on paper and you think, oh, a double duelist, Neon Yoru, they just want to go flying into the site. You know, 5 hitting on repeat, but KRU do play this map very nicely, and I think it comes from the fact that they don't overplay their hand all the time. They're not going to let you sneak up on those extremities of the map, and you saw it right there.
The big question for me around this comp for GiantX is how they're going to manage to stall out these hits. Because obviously they can stall early with the slow orb, with the walls from an accoutrement of H's. Everyone has something to stall out.
Are you paid by the syllable, Mimi? Like,
yeah,
what's that?
Trying to maximize that one. But once they're into the site, they don't actually have a lot of tools to deny that plan. They only have 2 mollies in this comp, and retaking does feel a little difficult against a KRU comp that loves to play on site and get active in the post.
Especially because their only like fighting piece of util is going to be the sky flashes. Those don't recharge. So if you can bait those out early on into a round, well, from the perspective of KRU at least, you're going to have a much easier time playing out the rest of those rounds.
KRU going to change up how they start this round. Instead, Dodds will posture over towards Showers this time.
Yeah, looks like they want to double play the map a little bit. Michaela can use that flash down B long. All these 2 players move into Showers very quickly. They want to put bullets into that, they do. Yeah, just threatening the break on that so that GiantX can't fully rotate out of Showers.
It's the same thing twice now. A little bit of pressure from KRU. Smurfette walks up and dies.
It's always Kunir watching for that step up too. Good reset there from Jelena. Gotta respect that, but now she's gotta hightail it out of that one.
All that was going on though. A walk up from both sides again. GX working their way down short. Romy spots it out, but can't find the shot on the Sheriff.
GiantX are so active, but Dodd wants a little bit of the same. She's going back, wrapping around into lamps right now. Absolute madness. Millie has no idea where they're coming from. They're all over the place, and they're going to keep on looking. Nesh shuts that down, but as a flash comes in, there's nothing else you can do. Same time, Jelena slipped on back into sight. Can KRU jump into the teleporter? 2 players make it. There's no one left on B to stop the plant.
So it's a post-plant secured here. What did GiantX have to work back in? 1 sky flash, but a lot of utility on that harbor. KRU are going to play on site. Keep 2 players close in. Sarah flashes out from spawn. But Biasic is wrapping back around from above his Kunir. And the two work together well to close out KRU's second round.
Yeah, I think that's the second time KRU have seen that push wall on the retake that helps GiantX get out from CT. And you'll see in the replay how nicely KRU were able to sort of dance around that wall, get that double swing high-low on top tube and underneath. Yeah. Don't forget this round started out with Kunir getting that big kill. Once again, watching for that push out that clearly GiantX are trying to show they want to go for consistently. That's a bit of a high-low there. GiantX all sorts of confused. KRU are everywhere.
Fast opener towards Showers. Dodds slides straight on in and deals with the problem. There are questions about how much Dodds can do on other agents but the Neon, but I don't think there's a doubt that she is one of the best when Dodds is locking in that Neon.
Yeah, Dodds is absolutely scary. It's crazy, and I'm really curious for the rest of this series. You know, it's a first time seeing KRU on this split. Is that a Neon map in modern era 2024?
I mean, they're making Bind a Neon map.
I think for KRU, they'd like to win on the Neon maps before going to a decider of Abyss. Smoke's gonna come down, and well, there's two dead players waiting behind that smoke. Dead on arrival.
3 in a row now for VisaCrew Blaze, and they're starting to get some of the power ults online for this composition. That Yoru ult. Really interested to see what they cook up with it.
This is going to be the major deciding round. Of course, it starts off, KRU just dominated on these extremities, right? Whether it's B-Long or crushing over into Showers. I think there needs to be a better answer, because right now the stall utility has not been effective on that front. GiantX, what is that going to be? It looks to me like Smurfette went for an operator here, so going to try and control B-Long with that.
Turkish Duelist has been shut down in these last few rounds. She has another chance. Sarah will bait in, take a little pressure from that utility, but your ult has arrived, and Biazic knows all. Both GiantX players forced back towards elbow. A stun coming in, and Dodds is just going to go straight on through. Can't find the kill, though, and Sarah doubles up. Suddenly, KRU don't have a tip to this spear.
That is so major from Sarah. Smurfette has that rocket to get back into sight. KRU can't really get off of it either. They've got to hold their ground, using all that stall on CT to make sure those elbow players don't jump the gun and make it out, but there's still a lot of time for Giants to work with.
And a rocket for Smurfette if they want to use it.
Dog and flashes to follow.
Sarah's going to wait for the util to go down. Michaela a chance. She doesn't convert off of it, and GX will just scale their way back into the site and deal with their final problem. So, GiantX tally up the score to 3 apiece now.
That is all Sarah in that round. I mean, look, Smurfette's off, completely useless until the end because of the utility, right? VisaCrew Blaze, they are overwhelming B-Long on that front, but because Sarah holds her ground in elbow, protects her duelist, with just some good gunplay coming around from that, turns away from the broken clone there too. She almost killed 3 players.
Yeah.
If you can count it like that.
I think you can count it.
Yeah, well, we'll pretend at the very least. It's important for Sarah. I think in her last showing too, Sarah wasn't looking so hot towards the end, so having a good game here, having a couple of big impact rounds to kick things off. To stay alive here in Berlin.
KRU go fast up B-Long yet again. Sarah this time, considering contesting past it. Smurfette has the angle with the operator. Dodds walks straight in. That is a free little opener there.
Watch up A short here. Yori and Jelena have played together very consistently, and Romy stepping straight into that, shoulder seen around the corner. Biazic might want a little piece of it too. Push wall goes down onto short though, and that's just going to stall things out. So far GiantX, a couple of excellent openers.
VisaCrew Blaze, trying to look for an opportunity.
Uh-oh, there's a push down B-Long, and that's going to allow this this stack to happen over on the B site. On the A site, rather. the permanent stall is now 4 players and the op rotate in.
Yeah, what can you do against that? Finally, they'll break through, but there's still a lot of straight-up players holding the space here. GX have 3 on the other side of this smoke.
The flank is pressing in.
Once that fades, it'll be trouble, but for which team? Okay, it is KRU going down. GX trade that one out. Biazic is gone too. Very nice work from GiantX, and there I think we're seeing the power of this comp.
Yeah, I'd almost expect to see KRU switch up the tempo a lot, right? If Visa Crew players decide to, group up and fast push for an advantage here instead of, playing 3 different lanes at the start, because that's where they've been punished, right? KRU have decided to now play a little bit slower,
One enemy remaining.
and now these walk-ups when they're in tandem with one another, holding hands. GiantX have found those openers and now have stacked up 5 ultimates.
When you look at this comp, I think it is pretty surprising to see how much GX is going for these walk-up plays.
Yeah, right?
Like, I'd expect them to be playing back, trying to kind of do what they did that last round, full cringing the utility, stack one piece after another, stall them out. But they've been really proactive, maybe even to a fault some rounds.
I like it to a certain extent because when you have so little active playmaking tools, you don't want to be going for just full-on team fighting, right? Like the 5v5 retakes, we said that's going to be a problem. Yes, you can keep people from playing off of site with your endless amount of smokes, but you can't actually break through that first choke point easily.
Do you think Visa Crew Blaze might need to slow things down a little bit then, deal with those walk-ups more?
Well, that's what I'm wondering is, we saw them hold the contains and that went well for them. Now as they're slowly contacting up, they've been punished. So they either need to choose a little bit more of playing much strong, the strong side has to show some utility if they want to creep.
Sure. I think the issue then too is if GX then stop these forward plays, then KRU's just letting the timer tick away and not actually dealing with the biggest problem of this comp, which is all that stall utility.
Exactly. And now, because GiantX have those ultimates, it's not even like the retake is poor. Like Showstopper, Harbor Ult, even the Sky Seekers are all very effective tools at breaching your way back into a site.
So same default we've seen a couple times now for Visa Crew Blaze.
But it is without the walk-up showers, for example. Early Sage Wall was placed, so that's been pretty consistently done by Ness. And what this allows GiantX to do is focus on just 3 lanes.
Fiori's getting dogged out here? No, she's just getting swung by a couple, and not finding the kill there is gonna turn this into a bit of a tough situation for GiantX now.
The thing is, KRU, because they've been playing 3-1-1, they don't really want to accelerate into B site. And Sarah, now that she recognizes her team's at a numbers disadvantage, IGL is going to decide to creep down B long and take that space for herself again.
There might just be a gap here.
Go, go, go! Shortcut!
Dodds is going into the A site. But that Sky is slowly working on this flank, and you see how the way GiantX is playing around that.
Oh no.
Never mind. It's all gone wrong. Now KRU hits a teleport, and this flank could still find value.
Yeah, they got past Sarah, but now Sarah's going to be there so quickly. 5 to 10 seconds before that one snaps online.
But remember the ults. They have so many tools on GiantX. Sarah activates the flank, gets hers. Now the reaction for KRU. They'll fight into spawn, and Biazic has to go for more, running out of bullets.
They're gonna
the classic in hand.
They're going to TP out with the spike. Konir left herself over on the A site, and now Biazic is stuck on B. It's a madness round, Mimi.
Biazic is still in B. The Sky is flanking back through spawn. GiantX is completely separated. Smurfette needs to clear this angle. She will not. KRU have somehow turned this chaotic situation into an advantage, and Sarah, who has been working her way through spawn this entire round, is again spotted out. And you're not giving her anything. Michaela spotted as well, but there's already so little time.
Yeah, they're just playing with her. The barest of jiggle peaks. And Sarah just felt like she was kind of playing offsides the entire game because of how Visa Crew Blaze were abusing the teleporters.
And to me, that is the quintessential round when you were watching Visa Crew Blaze back in LATAM, right? They're so good at kind of creating these chaotic moments and just leaning in to the team fighting. They're so good when they're just dumping utility at you, creating this chaotic situation, letting Dodds thrive in it, and then actually finding the right call in these weird round states.
And I think they do an excellent job of calling on their solo, lurk players, right? When all of a sudden Biazic is left in this elbow position and, holding out to get that late flank going in. Or, for example, Konir is over on A site bringing her teammates back into her. Visa Crew Blaze are leaving all of their options open permanently, and that's the benefit of playing this spread out style where you're not just all in committing 5 players running headfirst into a site.
Timeout for GiantX here. And I think there does have to be some consideration about the leadership for this team. When they were starting this year, they didn't really have a true IGL. They were trying to do the kind of HyperX style. Everyone had the ideas into the mix. But then, towards the end, later on in EMEA, Sarah decided to step up to the role, try out IGLing, something she had never done in her career before.
Yeah, that's wild if you look at Sarah's trajectory, because just last year, she was the player that joined a G2 halfway through, right? Ended up going to Berlin. She was like the player they just plucked out of solo queue. We're like, she's gonna dominate from the duelist position.
And then immediately made top 3 in Brazil. But now it's this kind of reset for her career, having to play with GiantX, having to try and figure out who she is as a player now, having to step into that leadership position.
Role swap, stepping into a calling spot too. So many changes in Sarah this year, and it's netted results for GiantX, coming as the 2nd seed from EMEA, but still, Visa Crew Blaze are such a feared team here on Bind. Let's see if they can keep pulling through.
Looking at Dodds this round. Back on the Neon ult. She's been so potent with that all tournament long, and it's the same quick opener down long. Sarah wanna test this one. Dog going in.
Every piece of utility Visa Crew Blaze can yoink away from Sarah's Sky is a massive win. She only gets 3 real abilities per round.
She's been pushed all the way back. You see all across the map, GiantX is playing all these just forward contact angles.
I'm looking at a short right now. Diazic wants to step forward, use that Viper's wall against her. There's some good spam coming in, but the wall gets pulled down. Miori can't win the fight.
But that's such a good trade from Jelena. Keeps this 4v4.
And those two, that duo has been playing so nicely together on a short.
Sarah is going to be tested here. Dodds running straight into her face and a spam through the wall. That'll get the job done. Jelena tried to go for a TP and meet up with Smurfette. That doesn't work out. Now the 2nd teleport also eating up some damage. Smurfette, though, will defend her teammate, and now the Sage res available.
It's going to be a 3v3, and there's a Raise Rocket. It doesn't matter if Smurfette has the op. Actually giving that one to Jelena. They can get back into the site. It'll be up to Dodds and Michaela back on site. The first line of defense here for Visa Crew Blaze.
Getting out of Hookah is a challenge, though. The Rocket should help with that endeavor. Stun misses. Rocket will find Kunir. Smurfette needed to do a bit more. Down to a 1v1, and Jelena does not know where Michaela is. Time is working against her. The orb onto the spike, but Michaela just outside runs in and wins the round for Visa Crew Blaze.
Wow. Michaela's flash, I guess, not noted by Jelena in that 1v1. Everything getting lost in the muck of that round. Players on all different sorts of angles. Still, I like what we're seeing from Visa Crew Blaze. Like the amount of times they've had these late pinches going into Hookah especially. They've really netted some big results. And right there, Jelena just about to get onto the spike. Didn't stand much of a chance.
Feeling good from the coaches. 5-4. Bit of a half bite here for GiantX.
Yeah, Smurfette, the real rifle. Gonna have her teammates bait for her. Flash goes up, she swings around. That's the one, but that spike's out in the open now.
The rifle, that is, not gonna be able to be recovered. And Crew come out the better of that engagement. They'll rotate back towards A. Site's open.
Get the 2-for-1 and leave. No problem. Wait, that's a Seekers as well. Oh, that's Crew Seekers.
Indeed.
No problem. Especially with only 3 players alive, that ability is giga-busted.
Perfect information at this point in the round.
I was half expecting Miori to go for a late TP pinch. I mean, honestly, with those players going down, that's 2.5 rifles really for GiantX. They can try to get up some funny business here, back onto the site.
Yeah, Crew does not want to let this one slip away.
I think it's a good choice.
Diazic holding. Spots out the first player. A flash, again, just buying time for the team. Another flash in hand, and
upper knee.
Sarah is so wide on that swing. Kinnear just past the wall, swings in as well, and suddenly this one is flipped into even territory. The Viper down, pit falling, so a lot asked of Michaela again, but she can see that spike. She knows Jelena's holding it down in the spam. Oh, it doesn't work out. Is there time? Jelena just doesn't have it.
Jelena pulls off of the spike to get the kill. but she couldn't quite stick it through. That's so huge for Visa Crew Blaze there to win that one out at the last moment. Although you wouldn't notice it looking at them. The Red Bull clutch at the end there. And look, they spent so much into that round too. I mean, it was an anti-eco for them in a 4v3. They dropped a Viper's Pit, the Seekers as well. Threw absolutely everything into that one to make sure they won the round. If they lost that, it would have been a disaster going into round 11.
Who's next?
Yoru ult used. Similar scene we've seen before. But this time, GiantX will react walking down short. Yoru's gonna go pretty quickly here. Dodd's already flanking, fast around, sliding straight into their face. And Jolina...
Biazic is just in spawn.
What
Dying
is
to Miori.
happening?
An absolutely mad fake attempt over onto the A site where now GiantX are the attackers, effectively.
Okay. It's gone back to normalcy a little bit
This is a
here.
crew game, people.
Yeah, straight up just taking the B side at this point, and that will be uncontested. But look at the retake tools. Harbor ult available.
Romy getting active into elbow. Romy's gonna win this round back. It's by finding these players back in spawn, but doubling up like that is just not gonna happen.
Kinnear has to back away. Now Michaela flashes into spawn, but only one player is blind, and that won't do. Kinnear 1v5.
Just keep coming.
Yeah. GiantX really winning out a critical round there and also not having to use a lot of tools. They still have the Harbor ult for the last round.
I feel like they've had that Harbor ult forever. Just been sitting on that one, waiting for a good attempt to snap that one off in the retake.
Round in the half.
I do think Miori holding down the
enemy
fort here
remaining.
in spawn was so important, because this is the weak side, if you think about it, for GiantX. They had 3 players going off on the flank. Had they fallen back in spawn there, all of a sudden Visa Crew Blaze, they're flipping the map, they're planting for CT.
Sure.
They could even run it to A, something like that. Have a lot more options to play with.
Yeah, I think GiantX have done a really good job of finding the right reaction, the weak side of these executes to push up on.
Oh, it might be a 5-hit for KRU. We haven't seen this all half from them. They finally do it for it after 11 rounds of conditioning, and this time they're running straight into the permastall.
Wall, slow, and a Viper's Pit, all keeping them out of this one. Surely KRU has to cancel.
Well, the problem is, if they do, they have to go fully re-clear behind them because they know GiantX like to step up, outside of A especially.
The real kicker is that Michaela already used her dog. So clearing through that Viper's Pit is going to be so painful. I don't think they can make an attempt of it.
Yeah, they're just leaving Kinnear and Romy over here. Of course, you always have the option to late teleport over, but that dog only seeing 1 player. Pretty damning information. GiantX are going to keep 3 leaning into this A side.
Sarah spots out 2. Jolina will arrive on the scene. And they're going to pop the Harbor ult here early. KRU just getting shooed away on both sides of the map.
Hey, let's go back into B. Why not? Looks like Kinnear is going to go back into hookah, keep making noise, pretend, try and maybe sell that it was going to be the beach switch.
And they have gotten at least 1 rotation.
30 seconds left.
I'm out of here. Shocking.
Now finally an execute into this A site. Biazic knows there's a player back site. Sarah now has help, and well, the help is doing well. Jolina and Sarah, what an adjustment! Rips her crosshair around and has this half tied up for GiantX.
You know, Sarah had a couple of gnarly rounds there. Excellent hold from GiantX. I mean, if for a second you're debating was the Harbor ult sent out too soon? No. Put so much time pressure back onto Visa Crew Blaze. And then from backside, GiantX calling those rotates, shut things down completely.
Just a really strong recovery there for GiantX. But earlier, we spoke with Visa Crew Blaze's Romy about the tough loss to G2 in this OMEN player moment.
Hola, soy Romy de Visa Crew Blaze y soy la centinela del equipo. Bueno, después del partido me siento un poco triste. Bueno, sinceramente pensábamos que eran mucho mejores. Yo creo que totalmente podríamos haber ganado. Fueron cosas tontas por las que erramos, así que no fue nada diferente. Pero sé que son problemas que se pueden arreglar, así que vamos a resolverlo durante estos días y estar preparadas para el próximo enfrentamiento.
Oh, that's so early. Dots still evaded. Yeah, they're going to find Amy on this one. This is still going to pieces. G2 looking like they're in danger because of Dots is holding the door and no one's coming through. Vanya dead, Petra dead.
Hasta ahora sé que podemos demostrar mucho más. Este no es el juego 100% que tenemos. Creo que todavía tenemos mucho por mostrar, así que se preparen. A los fans de KRU quiero decirles que nos sigan apoyando, que falta mucho torneo por demostrar, así que un saludo a todos.
Now, GiantX started to show us some good stuff with this funky bind comp towards the end of that half, but I think there is a big question of how it's going to play on the attack side.
Honestly, call me crazy looking at Sage and double smokes, but I like this comp more on attack than I like it on defense.
Why is that?
Primarily, I think Harbor is a lot more effective on attack, especially with those walls. It's really, really strong. But honestly, I think their post-plant stall utility is really crazy for locking down chokes, especially on the B site. And also, while they only have 2 flashes in the form of that Sky, don't discount the combination of like Sage slows, Viper Mollies, Raise nades, especially for taking the B site. It is very hard to play on that site if you lose control of Hookah, and all of a sudden GiantX can just start spamming that utility out from that space.
Yeah, and even if they're going into A, they have like a million duels to actually get the spike down safely.
Yeah, and also the Sage wall makes it a free spike plant, right?
Yes.
You can either throw that towards U-Haul to ignore that entirely, especially on anti-ecos, or block off showers.
The only recourse is really using a Brim Molly or a Viper Molly, but you only have 2 of those pieces. It's not like you have a massive plant denial comp.
I've got 2 better pieces for you
Okay.
for Visa Crew Blaze. They're called Biazik and Dodds, and they're going to get real active, as they always do on the defensive side.
We talked about Dodds needing to prove their consistency at the top level. An okay first half, but a chance to show they're a superstar here.
Keep watching for how GiantX get creative to take forward space. Right down B long, it's the push wall, all the way up into Octagon, rather. And Sarah with a Sky Flash. He's going to use a dog into Hookah, too, to try and fake a lot more pressure on this B site than there really is, because the team's going in.
4 players stacked up, but Dodds is going to slide straight on through, and that's a kill onto Sarah.
But nobody's home. It's literally just Romy here in U-Haul. I mean, if she gets anything, it's a major win.
They're trying to flip the map, but they never checked on Romy.
Oh, no.
No one is looking at U-Haul, and Romy could change this round. That's 1. How much more can she do? She's in a cage match here. Her team walled off towards spawn. Alone against Ness. Another kill would be incredible. And Romy's done more than just that. 3 kills out of the Viper. And Mayori's the only one left to stand.
I mean, her entire team left her, and she's just solo winning the round. Look, I know I was talking a lot of hype about Dodds and Biazik, but don't sleep on a player like Romy. Not as an anchor.
One of the only 6 players that have been to every Game Changers Championship with this same crew core. And you've seen them grow every single time. They talked about the addition of Dodds, how much that helped the team to step up, how Biazik coming in as an IGL improved this team, and I think there's a real chance we're seeing the best that Visa Crew Blaze has been at a GCC.
I think for sure this is their peak form that we've seen. They're such a fun team to watch too. I mean, from the comps, all the neon stuff they're running, even the way they move around the map is super active. Gorgeous.
Indeed. I was talking with Dan about kind of the LATAM community's read on this team, and she was saying they're wearing the pink jerseys that look almost the same as the ones Crew wore during their iconic 2021 Champions run. So
If that doesn't get you feeling a certain way, I don't know. Trying to channel the power in that one. A flawless round is certainly a way to do that.
Yeah, this org looks pretty in pink.
And you know what? I agree. All right, this will be the test round for GiantX, though. I mean, so far this game, it really hasn't been just dominated by the duelist players. It's been pretty evenly spread, all things considered. Jolina's had a pretty stellar game thus far. We'll see what GiantX are able to actually accomplish here on attack.
Walk up from Visa Crew Blaze down short. The Outlaw posted, and Maori already damaged. That's an opener for Biazik. She'll escape too.
And that just means a 3-stack over on the B site. Luckily, it's only Smurfette on light armor, although that is the player you want taking the first fight, so that Outlaw could do some serious punish.
Biazik has another gate crash ready to go back towards A.
Oh, this is something I've seen GiantX think about before on other maps, but leaving Smurfette as a solo player on a lurk. And, well, Michaela is ready for that one.
So thorough from KRU. Immediately re-pushing into that space, taking a bit of a risk, but now they're up 5 versus 3 on their own bonus round.
Yeah, that's not what you want to see from GiantX.
And the thing is, GX hasn't even really done much yet. They got the embed.
They've gotten nowhere.
Immediately gone. That's another stunner from Biazik. Okay. I thought the point of that gun was that it's like better because you can body shot people.
Yeah.
Guess not.
Well, yeah, when they have heavy armor, like Biazik knows, you just aim for the head, Mimi. This is simple stuff.
And now it's a horror movie for Sarah.
There's nowhere to go. You're closing in. It's a shame you can't teleport to a different map.
No.
Flawless.
That's a flawless bonus round win.
Yeah.
For Visa Crew Blaze.
And honestly, like, I'll be honest, like, Visa Crew Blaze usually a loud team, but I felt like the first half especially was pretty muted. Now I'm starting to hear them get a little bit louder on that stage. It's coming up here into the caster booth. And for good reason. I mean, winning on your bonus here and winning in perfect form? Like, come on.
Spike no chão, B.
One more!
Pretty much my reaction too, Bebe. Only stairs for GX. But those can be potent on bind.
Yeah, I think it's really important for GiantX to keep looking for control of Hookah. Problem is, if you ignore Long, well, you're gonna lose control of the map very, very quickly. Good push wall flash combination, and GiantX gonna be quickly out onto the site and quickly down into the dirt.
There's an ult for Michaela. She'll take that happily. One Viper Molly does maybe the most damage it could, doubling up for those frags. And KRU, from a perfectly tied game, are leading by 4 with double digits.
You know, you might have thought for a second GiantX should have some momentum, winning rounds 11 and 12. No. Visa Crew Blaze took a breath at halftime, came out ready to fight, and they are crushing.
GX might pick up the pace. 5 players, all A short.
I mean, at this point, they just want to get the spike down. It's been a struggle to plant.
That's what you were telling me was the big strength of this comp.
Yeah, it should be a lot easier. Problem is, with these Yoru TPs, it's always 3 players, no matter which side you're hitting. The Ori is massive, shutting down showers, and that spike's gonna go down.
Spike planted.
So finally an advantage for GX.
Here.
And Biazik caused some trouble in this round,
3 low players.
but needs to be given an opportunity. There shouldn't be anyone presenting one. Wall needs to be broken, and KRU will do so.
This is what I'm talking about, though. Like, retakes, all this utility, just so hard to make it back in. Good turn of a flash. Allows Smurfette to just stay completely posted up here. That's another flash turned, and yeah, nobody's allowed in.
So, quite possibly, the exact rounds that GiantX were asking for. Waltz on into the A site, get the spike down, and Miori's double outside showers, the cherry on top of that one.
Yeah, you can't undervalue the fact that GiantX survived with 5 players here. Allow themselves to start building some money back, because KRU are fine for a long time, winning those first 4 in a row.
Biazik has bought an operator.
Together.
And she'll do that on this map. It's one of the nice things about running Vioru next to that Neon. It's going to be on A short this round, but GiantX fighting definitely for that B long space.
I suggest you move.
Harbor ult into the B site. But again, KRU is giving the site away and instead playing 2 players on the other side.
GiantX do get info. There's a player in Hookah, though, so Miori is waiting for this push.
Can she do it again? A double last time.
Ooh.
Oh, and this time it's absolutely nothing. Romy saves her teammate's life.
Keep your eyes on these elbow players. Smurfette is about to run into 3. Ooh, I don't know if we want to fight that. There are options for Sarah to assist with a flash back into the site. At the same time, Biazik running on in there. Dodds close to follow. It's Pistols getting pulled out now, and it's Dodds on top. The spike has not been planted, even though Dodds will initially fall.
But the rest of the retake is now coming in.
One dead.
And up through long, these last 2 players can't even really get ahead. Smurfette taps that spike again. Michaela spots out the player elbow, but it's just a 1-for-1. And now Biazic, with that spike finally going down, might just go all the way back around.
Yeah, there's going to be a Vandal there for Biazic to pick up. That's a quick little switch. Now, what can Biazic do? We've got a clone to work with. Teleport placed behind Hookah here for a late attempt, but you can't really use that or you're going to lose on time.
Biazic dives into the site. Clone goes back. That's an isolated fight against one. Spots out the other, but Smurfette has it under control.
Now these rounds are starting to get a little bit close, but Smurfette wins that one out. Ultimate now online for her. GiantX still very much in this one. Look at this, it's just pandemonium in these post plants because there's so many smokes. We talk about the triple smoke comp for GiantX. KRU have one as well. Don't forget Dodds is throwing that wall back up on every single retake. So a lot of these fights are just about straight up reaction time as either you or an enemy team is coming through a smoke and you just have to flick onto a head instantly.
So Bebe will take a timeout for Visa Crew Blaze. Cool to see her now in the head coach seat, the assistant coach for both of the former appearances of this squad at GCC, and the only female coach at the event.
Yeah, I mean, Visa Crew Blaze have just continued to evolve year on year around similar core of players, coaching staff, and continue to get better. At the same time, GiantX, a lot of familiar faces on that side, of course. See if Smurfette can continue with a few more big rounds here. GiantX are coming into this one looking at, hey, another full buy versus full buy round. We're gonna have a lot of those remaining. But it's GiantX with the ultimate advantage. Ness has the resurrection, so if GiantX wanna play these rounds and take some egotistical fights early on,
sure,
they can always get back up.
Thus far, KRU have been playing offsite in a lot of these rounds, set up to retake, just holding one extremity. I'd honestly like to see them commit a little bit more to playing on these sites. Let Biazic, let Dodds get forward on these angles, pick those players off before they can get in with the utility.
Yeah, the last couple rounds, they've been trying to control the inside of the map, play for A short and play for hookah control. And run some trap TP plays, hold on.
Biazic this time outside, off-spotted, Smurfette swings in, and Biazic cannot adjust. She got proactive, didn't work, and now Smurfette has earned the rocket. Through the site she goes. No one's looking at Dodds, oh no! Jumping up and down is the harbor, it doesn't matter. Ness has dealt with Dodds, and GX will plant and get Miori back in the round.
5 versus 3 in the post plant? I mean, Paneer has to ignore that Sage Wall for now. Try to get out back triple, but the crossfires have been set up. Even this flank is being watched by 2 players, potentially. Jeleena's going to be able to find that trade very, very nicely, and with Michaela going in on the flank, everyone is aware. GiantX know exactly what's going on in this post plant, but doesn't matter. If Michaela keeps hitting these shots, it's going to work out for her. Dog to come through now, just to keep buying time, get herself back into it, and she does. It's all on Michaela in the 1-on-2. Push wall comes out. The Seekers to follow. GiantX are using everything, throwing everything at her, but she finds the shot somehow! The spam is coming through! The clock is dwindling down, but Sarah will finish it off.
Just in the nick of time. Sarah keeps the round in control for GiantX. And out of KRU's timeout. They keep building their momentum. And that time, KRU did change the way they were playing. They tried to get proactive, tried to take these forward fights, and both of the star players from KRU are instantly shut down.
It's just Biazic going for that reswing is way too much. After using your own op to break it, just didn't respect the fact that space was going to be seized behind it. Got instantly punished for it.
3 players in hookah for Visa Crew Blaze. They won't see anything, instead retreat back into sight as GiantX work their way down long. Oh, and again, Smurfette is just decimating in these first kills. She's gonna go for a little bit more, but the flashes, the utility, they're just running into too much. And Michaela has ruined GiantX.
This is a rare thing. Those duelists for KRU not finding their fights. GiantX have just consistently shut them down. And yet, it's still KRU with the advantage here. Just 1 player left remaining, Miori. Had a couple of really nice pieces.
Hold on a second. It's a 1v2. She has the Viper's Pit available. And an isolated fight against Michaela through the wall. 1 HP on the sky.
They still think she's fully loaded.
No one's watching! 1v1! And a swing out! Miori's done it! An incredible clutch for GiantX. They've tied this game again!
GiantX has been so clutch in this comeback here. 4 rounds in a row to respond. And this time it's Miori in the Red Bull clutch. I mean, let's watch that again. There were some ridiculous shots throughout this. Wall bangs and whatnot. Because GiantX just got crushed. They tried to force their way through that wall, but the timing that Miori caught there, catching Romy off guard, and then here, guesses wrong, but reacts faster.
An unbelievable round. Visa Crew, it was 6 rounds in a row they lost to G2 to go down to this lower bracket. They cannot let a game slip away again.
GiantX wall goes out, ready to hit this site. No control over Hookah though. We've already seen this stall be very effective, even in that last round. And Molly almost eating up the entirety of the Harbor ult, and still GiantX only just now to get out into the site. Sarah's made it, now calling in the rest of her team. But it doesn't feel comfortable, does it? No, Biazic is able to get that kill, dodge on away, and the wall maybe saving KRU.
GiantX just floundering in the front of site. They again have to recover from a player down disadvantage. Michaela has dealt with Miori. The hero of last round is dead. And Ness, oh my god! She can't win the round, but that was a stunner of a transfer.
We're learning lessons, and that's you can't count GiantX out of a round.
No.
That said, the defensive hold from Visa Crew Blaze has been lights out. Those last 2.
I can't help but feel that this was a little indecisive, though. They're into the site. 2 players are fighting. The rest aren't swinging out the smoke. Then they go back. It didn't feel like a full commitment for GiantX.
I think the last few times GiantX have gone down into long, it's been that double hookah hold against them. So they weren't expecting to just get owned by the Viper Molly, trapping them in hookah. They thought, hey, that Harbor ult's gonna be enough. It wasn't.
Visa Crew Blaze back in the driver's seat here.
With 4 players over on this A site. Right now, it looks like GiantX are going to be walking into a stack, and even if they're not, I mean, Smurfette's been taken low. The spam onto Jolina does some hurt. GiantX really have no space on the map to save for themselves.
No, 40 seconds gone. They don't have anything to show for it.
All they know is they don't want to go A. I think they're going to be relying big time on a late lurk from Miori, right? With the rest of the team gearing up for this B-long push. If Miori can find something on A, that teleport could win the round for GiantX.
But look at the tools. Visa Crew Blaze. They have the perfect concoction to win on a retake. Yoru ult, follow that up with the Brimstone Orbital Strike, flight back in off it. They're comfortable giving up B.
This round is all on Miori right now. She's activating quickly, but they're ready for it. Romy waiting and watching, and Kinnear shuts her down. The TPs came in, and they came in too early. This site is not free.
20 seconds left. They have no choice but to charge head on through the Molly, and that is a mistake. No time, no options, and Kinnear burns them to the ground.
You just can't wait that long.
The first 40 seconds, they didn't get any information other than that there was players short.
Yeah, I mean, they got spammed out on that short fight. I think they then regrouped to get healed off by Sarah, but then between the combination of that one-way...
Oh, they even used the res in that.
Yeah.
Last player standing.
That is brutal.
Flawless.
And it's looking like this could just be an incendiary end to an attempted comeback. GX will take their last time out of the game.
And look, GiantX, similar situation in the first half. Down 2 with 2 rounds remaining. Looking at things, it is a half buy for them. I mean, it's a force, but it's not pretty. A couple of sheriffs for sure. And just thinking about it, I don't think they can fully commit like 5-hit. Their comp just doesn't thrive in that necessarily. But I would like to see them maybe focus more on hookah control early on. They've been playing so much for B-long, and I think mainly because they want to have the option to go for the late teleport going in. But I at the same time think it's a much harder for KRU to just hard stall them if they're trying to jump out of that hookah space, especially with all the utility GiantX can throw into cubby, onto tube, etc.
I think of it, a lot of this has to come back to Smurfette. She was, I think, the catalyst of that comeback, getting the opening kill in almost every round. That's when they were just going for a lot of these faster executes and finding some success.
It's real bad news, too, for GiantX if they can't beat Visa Crew Blaze with Dods continuing to not put up the insane numbers that we expect from her. GiantX, what's it going to be? 3-2 split over towards this B site. So a little bit more attention put on that hookah, which I do like, but it doesn't seem like that's necessarily real from them. They called Sarah over to watch and make sure no one's stepping up on A short. Still keeping their options open. Just sent a dog on A short too. They got broken instantly, so GiantX might even think that there's a little bit of a forward hold here.
GX cannot let this time just drain away again.
I mean, this is looking grim because there's also going to be a Yoru in showers, just holding that line if you try to late TP into that.
They haven't even passed the first layer yet. They're not even through this orb down long.
Yeah, this is one of the first times I think we've seen that orb thrown, and it's really thrown GiantX for a loop.
They're finally going for it, but there are 3 players on this B site. Orb recovered. But the Viper wall straight back up. Can they get through? Flash forward. Michaela can't connect the shots, but Romy, she'll make it work on the transfer. Switch to the classic. It's not in time.
Look in the TP. Miori waiting outside of this. She has to win this fight if there's going to be the chance.
Okay.
And there just
straight
isn't.
through the wall.
Hold on, though. Smurfette, 43 HP, has the ultimate, and she gets the first kill. Rocket popped, trying to bait out a player by tapping the spike, but she's going to have to stick that one through. The rocket fuse is going to wind away.
But Biazik TP'd. She's so far.
No. And it was wall? Smurfette was flashed. I don't think she has any idea that Biazik could have crossed.
She's walking into spawn now suspects it. But low on HP.
And it's planted in tube.
Can Smurfette keep her team in this game? Clone down long. Footsteps heard, Smurfette not falling for it, but also not even swinging. Biazik back on the spike, sticking this one halfway. Smurfette down to 43, but she doesn't need any more. 4 kills for Smurfette, and GiantX are in this game yet.
Smurfette is the catalyst GiantX need. Amazing in the Red Bull clutch there, living on just 3 HP. Just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, look at that. It turns into a 1-on-2 situation. That shot is nasty. Then takes her time with it, doesn't rush. That would have come down to the wire had it been a full stick, but it doesn't matter. Smurfette called the bluff and keeps her team in this one.
But how many rounds can you rely on heroics? GX have not shown us a real solution just yet, and Biazik this time.
Crossfire setup, a little bit of baiting from Michaela. GiantX not going to play with that too much.
In short, that's a judge on Miori.
I love how Visa Crew Blaze are playing double trouble on both A short and B long, trying to fight together. This is gonna put GiantX in a similar issue where
Biazik is walking up long. Jolena trying to hold it. She does her job well.
And that's the opener GiantX needed, right? They were waiting for Visa Crew Blaze to overplay their hand. Now it's a 4v5. Post plant with the Viper's Pit would be nice, but there's still resistance. It's gonna be a solo B hold, just this guy in long. You deal with that player, GiantX have the site.
But Michaela has been a monster this map. 22 kills. She's ahead of the wall, tucks into the close corner.
3 here now.
Do they clear it? Molly's coming in. GiantX again is stalled out.
There's only 30 seconds left. And they have to get in somehow.
And they have to get past Michaela. And she does nothing. Down in an instant. Romy, the next one up to bat to try and avoid overtime.
Romy!
Spots out two, not looking. Is that enough? Kanir now left alone.
There's time to get the spike down, but again, it's a bad plant. Inside tube, Ness wins the shot. We're going to OT.
GiantX, they bring it all the way back from 6-6 to then trailing by 4 rounds and now recovering to overtime.
I don't think either team has felt fully comfortable in any of these rounds. Again, this is like the quintessential bind Valorant experience.
Yes.
With just infinite levels of smokes, infinite amounts of particles on your screens. It's so hard to communicate in moments like this, especially when the pressure is getting to you. Remember, these teams are playing for their tournament lives right now. It's just map 1, but going into OT here already, you know we've got a long one in store.
So the side switched again. And now KRU, the team, tasked with dealing with all of the utility that GX has to stall them out.
The consistent default from GiantX was putting this Sage Wall down in showers and then fighting much more heavily on other sides of the map. Biazik consistently too was breaking the wall, although was very concerned about the gap placed. A lot of times can be tricks, whether Sage's boost on the left side there or swing you out on the right. Especially as a solo player, you don't want to overextend there and fall early. She regroups really quickly with her team on the TP.
All 5 members of Visa KRU Blaze posture towards the B site.
GiantX aren't going to give up long easily. Flashing through from KRU. GiantX forced to back away, but still trapped in that corner on wood.
Michaela couldn't do it from that spot. And Sarah does not want to
It goes
attempt
down!
it, tries to fall away. The timing nearly leads to the death of Miori, and Dodds is coming after them! The hero KRU needed! Steps up in overtime.
Gotta go.
And the post plan is going to look so nice too. No flashes for GiantX to get back in. They're going to have to win out their fights. Dodds maybe a bit of overheating here with Kunir. Will be a 3K, it doesn't matter. She's feeling it now, Mimi.
That she is. The last 2 players from GX working from spawn. Dodds wants to keep this round going. Waiting towards elbow. A shorty deals the killing blow to Smurfette, and Dodds arrives in overtime with a 4K to her name.
The worst news GiantX have gotten all day. Dodds is here to play. Showing up at the end here.
12 kills in 24 rounds. And the second her team needs her, she drops 4 in OT.
Wow. And just insult to injury at the end too. Like we get the neon ult to finish it off. Got the shorty kill in there too. You know, GiantX aren't happy with that one, especially because they were just on the back foot. They had to win those 2 rounds in a row going into OT. Now they've got to do it again on this attack side.
Time to hunt.
GX take showers uncontested. They just want to turn this one into an A execute.
They're acting way faster than they did during their full, you know,
Attack side
regulation
here,
round.
yeah.
Toxin screen down.
Oh, double TP, it's a crunch!
Can they deal with it? Smurfette is on an island here, but breaks the clone. Biazik gets one, sliding in his Dodds. And still just waiting inside this teleporter. It's awkward. Romy policing the other side, keeps Smurfette in check. But Dodds is still just stuck in this teleporter.
Yeah, nowhere to go. Gonna have to sit in that one for a long, long time.
I have to.
In the chaos, though, do they think she's still here? They do.
They know for sure. They're just looking for some spam shots. But again, look at the clock. We're down to 40 seconds. It's a 3v5. You don't have Smurfette to get into a site.
And now Jolene is taking the site alone. Or at least
do
threatening
something.
it with the harbor wall, and just walks into Kinnear's line of sight.
Left.
Surely this isn't the way it ends.
It's still essentially a 3v2. And Dodds could become a problem later in this round. Kinnear wasn't quite watching. Moves back in time, just takes this duel, and now Dodds is back! And she'll end this game! 14-12. KRU take bind in overtime.
GiantX never gonna make that one easy. But Visa KRU Blaze, 1 map win away from moving on here in this lower bracket, keeping that run going.
We've seen them at GCCs before. Top 8, top 6, they've made attempts at runs, but there's a chance to go deeper here for Visa KRU Blaze. This series has been a banger thus far, and bangers always go to split.
So, you want to work in esports. Great. Step 1, never spell it like that. Better.
Step 2. Apply to the Mastercard Gamer Academy, a program created in partnership with G2 designed to give you all the tools and resources needed to help you start a career in esports.
This is an education in everything, from creating content to managing a team.
All from experts who will explain every aspect of running a top-tier org, prepping for a broadcast, or designing global esports events for millions of fans.
Selected participants will have access to live lectures and insights you won't find anywhere else.
And even the opportunity to travel to the League of Legends Mid-Season Invitational and Valorant Champions.
So they're flying them out to champs?
Yep.
Thank you, Mastercard.
So if you've ever dreamed of a life working in esports, this could be your opportunity to apply for an unforgettable experience.
Can anyone apply?
No, you can't apply.
Red Bull gives you wings.